How's it going?
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good, good.
Hey, here you are quiet again. Okay, try that again.
You can hear me?
Yes. I
Awesome.
always have to turn up my volume. I really, really got to get Corey to figure out why this volume is so low.
Keeps going low all the time.
Yeah, stupid
Yeah.
thing.
All right. How's your
So,
weekend?
how was your one day?
Oh, it's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yours?
I didn't do much yesterday. Oh,
No.
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Saturday I went to a funeral. Sunday I went to a funeral.
Oh, two funerals.
People I didn't know. They're not
Oh,
my people.
oh, okay.
They're
You just got
Wendell's.
in. Oh, okay, got it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's check out things how things are. I haven't even looked at the computer here for since Saturday morning, so let's get this.
I have,
Uh, Yeah,
and it's all
things
going
are
up.
going well. Yeah,
My
things are
stuff
still
is
going up.
going up anyway.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get this analysis started. All right, first of all, here's silver. I don't know what happened to my silver chart that I had before. It just disappeared. So I don't have anything saved, but we can see that that got retraced. Again, this is not the all-time high. Almost made it to the all-time high. In fact, let's go ahead and just mark that so that we have that. Look at that. The data on this feed doesn't even have enough. Okay, well, there's no point in using that then. Let's get the right silver. Silver. Capital. Let's go dollars per ounce right here. There we go. And there are my drawings. Awesome. This is all-time high. There we go. So we almost made it to that all-time high. Now, over the last, since Friday, not a whole lot of action. Obviously, the markets just opened yesterday, but it's been dropping since. We're now coming back down towards this little retracement or this rebound zone. Wow, can't think to this morning. This is a pivot point. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, you can see that price has come down, reaching this pivot point that has been major support and resistance in the past. And I would expect it to continue coming down. This retracement here, forming this high, this is definitely getting denied by. If we take a look, we're getting denied by this pivot point right here. There, 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 and even by here as well. So got denied, now headed back down again. I would expect as that faith in the dollar continues for the next little while, likely till the first few weeks after the election and the truth starts to come out, I would expect this to continue coming down for the time being, maybe even longer. Might be going down during the whole bubble. Gold also much retracements happening over the last little while. Even last night, first thing as the markets opened, as the international markets opened, the price came down, a little bit of a retracement, but is now headed back down again. Majorly denied by this point of resistance here. We'll probably expect to continue to go down. US 30 forming new highs, of course, in the total, in spirit of the declining value of gold. People are still very much in faith that the American markets are going to be saved. And so
I have
yeah,
a question.
yeah.
So, this is, I guess, a little political too, because um, the Biden is sending in, let Ukraine do the whole, um, you know, because Ukraine is able to now go deeper into US or into Russia, and now Russia is going to retaliate. What's that going to mean for the markets?
Well, it's gonna be interesting. I think that what they're doing is simply just trying to make life difficult for Trump,
Mm.
because there are still factions within the industrial complex, right? And I don't mean just the military industrial complex, the banking complex.
Because that
The
always,
banking,
war always means money.
yep, that's right. It means money. And so this is, but here's the thing. What's interesting about it is that Canada had to send over some sort of a missile defense system to Ukraine this week. So it's not just America helping Ukraine. It is a huge effort of our mortal enemy, the very ones who continually need to be slapped down and put in place about every 80 to 100 years or so. We just have been not doing that since, well, before World War One. World War One, we should have done it. We didn't. World War Two, we should have done it. We didn't. Everybody thinks that the Allied forces won World War Two. They didn't. It's all a lie fabricated by our mortal enemy. And so, what we have today is unfortunately a situation where two factions within that, basically, there's the industrial complex, banking, military, all of that goes down, right down that road. That is both the left and right wings. It's kind of like Yahweh, in the Christian Bible. He actually plays both sides. If you actually look at the original translations and you take a look at how other cultures within that area, other cultures reported on who Yahweh was, he's actually playing both sides, both God and Satan, the adversary. Well, the same thing happens with this structure here. So the controlling elites, if you want to call them that. I call them something else, just not on YouTube, so that I don't go to prison. They are the ones that control that banking system, and that banking system is what feeds the military complex. The military complex is just following orders from the government, right? The government, though, is all bought and paid for, and so it just goes up the line so that our enemies can get bigger. This is really just that little temper tantrum. I see this. What's happening right now is that our mortal enemy is having a temper tantrum because they got busted having injected a experimental bioweapon into the arms of many people using the exercise of authority over consent, which is an assault. And that's not even my definition of it. That's their own definition of it. So they have, having committed this level of criminality, such that we actually don't even have laws where Nuremberg doesn't actually suffice. People think we need Nuremberg. It didn't. It did not suffice in covering the criminality that we have experienced over the last 4 years. And I think the reason why is because we didn't have the capacity of to think as evilly as our enemy has. So therefore, people are just going along with what we see happening as, oh, Trump's going to fix everything. Well, Trump is the reason why we're in this mess. I mean, he had the entire presidency before COVID to stop this from happening. Now, if he didn't know that this was happening, and me, bastard child from nobody, right? My family is a nobody. How is it that I knew about the events of 2020, COVID, and the entire operation, and Trump didn't? And furthermore, if he did know, why didn't he do anything about it? Well, because, whatever, trust the plan or something like that from the QAnons, right? So what we have here is just a little bit of a temper tantrum from the big boys, but they are simply doing their best to maintain what assets they still have. And they have two assets under their wing still. And the first one of them is Canada. The other one is the United States. And until such time that our mortal enemy is either evicted, exiled, or executed away and thereby no longer a part of our nations, Until that time, there's no reason to believe that Trump is on our side. And if we take a look at the placements that he has already made, they're all more swamp zombies, more people to fill the swamp that he keeps on saying he's going to drain, which he's not going to drain. He can't drain it, otherwise, he would be in violation of his oath to serve our enemy. And oh no, he hasn't done that. Well, except that's what the Corporation of United States of America is. That's what it is. It is the instrument of usurpation to the Republic. If Trump wanted to, at any given time in his first presidency, he could have reestablished the Republic and finished the pandemic before it started. But he didn't. He didn't. And so, what we have today, this war, I believe, are two little tiny, I don't know how to describe this. You got a Tim Hortons over here, and you've got your Crispy Donuts over here, and they both want the market share of donuts in North America. That's what it basically boils down to. Crispy Donuts over here, they're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that Tim Hortons doesn't win. But Tim Hortons is doing everything they can to make sure Crispy Donuts doesn't win. Now, who wins? Neither the bankers nor the military care. They're not a part of it. They're part of that overarching umbrella of control, right? And so we're seeing just two factions duking it out. Basically, Krispy Kreme donuts are pissed off that they don't have the same market share that they thought they did. And so they're having a temper tantrum, you know, like a spoilt little brat stomping down the hallway to their room as Trump takes office. But in reality, Krispy Kreme and Tim Hortons work for the same bank. So yeah, people
Thanks.
think Biden did this and he didn't. He's like the guy's intelligence really boils down to like the biggest level of choice that he could possibly exercise on his own free will would be what flavor of ice cream to lick or what color of hair to sniff. That's literally the capacity of his choices to make. So he didn't choose for Ukraine to launch missiles into Russia. he simply signed the bill to say that could be done or whatever. So yeah, what we're seeing, this war is in a way providing a little bit of faith in the dollar because they have to spend it, right, to make this work. But what we're seeing is instead of the United States actually expending all of the resources with their own military might, they're simply giving it to Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't have anything left. Ukraine lost an estimated of 800,000 or 400,000 soldiers in the last 4 years. That's a devastating loss. 400,000? That's more than what Canada and the US experienced since the end of World War II combined.
All senseless. It's all
It was
senseless.
all senseless. And again, the Ukrainian men that died, those military men, those were all innocents as well. They were not. They didn't have anything to do with that. They were just as propagandized as we are, as the people here in Canada. They were just as lied to. They have just as firm belief that they are doing their country good. Meanwhile, they're simply being sent to slaughter on purpose, knowing that they can't win, but just simply doing everything they can just to make life a miserable hell for everybody else. This is what they do. Love Martin Luther actually, not the fake one from the 1900s. I mean the one from the 1500s. He actually very accurately described what we're going through today. Great book that he wrote on that. So
Let's
Yeah,
get back
does
to
that
it.
help?
Sorry.
Does that help to
Yeah.
answer? I mean, it's a
Okay.
long answer, but
Yeah. Thanks.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Uh, yeah, that's what's going on. You the Dow Jones. Look at this. Like in the last little bit here, in the last 5 minutes that I was talking there, it's continuing to go up. So yeah, faith in the dollar has been restored, and yeah, war is definitely going to be a part of that. Uh, but more like the pricing is still, I think, like that faith is still very. It's ill placed. It's not placed right because it's all inflation. That's the only reason. Toronto Stock Exchange, yeah, it formed that new high on Friday and been hovering ever since. Markets haven't really opened up much yet today. Yeah, like it's just now opening up, and there's not a lot of movement. In fact, there's no movement yet. No problem though. Moving on to things that are actually moving. Let's go to the crypto 30. This is the 2 hour chart. Yeah, so ever since Friday, yeah, over the weekend, we actually had a little bit of a dip and coming back up again to hit this high, to challenge this high again. I would expect this week that we see a little bit more of a movement towards this all time high. We'll see where we are at with Bitcoin, though. Yeah, see, Bitcoin, I feel like it's got to hit this. It's got to hit this 100,000 to 110,000 before people really jump on board. Before they really, so we may see this pull back. And pull back, what does that look like? Well, from where we are right now, a 10% drop would just bring us to 87,000. That would make sense considering it's been support in the past. I don't know for sure. Like it's really tough to tell. I think that what we have right here, this impulse that we've had since this little, blip here that first week after the election was over, all that nonsense. Well, this movement here, to me, I don't feel like it has a lot of support. This feels like a weak impulse. This little downward, this little bit here, that's not enough of a retracement for me to say we've got support to go to 110,000. That's again, that's a technical analysis perspective. But what's also interesting is that there are still massive amounts of accumulation happening with the BlackRocks and Vanguards. Like we got the ETFs that are still burning out lots of Bitcoin. So it's tough to say. I think that there should be one more retracement before we can say that this first impulse is really done. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. Down right now, yeah, down already today, $724. Not a big deal in Bitcoin. That can fluctuate in a matter of hour. So Ethereum actually creating some new highs here. I do believe this strength will be seen here over the next little while, even if Bitcoin wanes a bit. And the reason why is because people come in, they get Bitcoin, but then they need to go and move their money around because Bitcoin's not going to go up 400% like it has in the past. It it might double. That's about it. And so and that's a stretch. The doubling of a Bitcoin, that's a stretch. So Ethereum is going up while Bitcoin is kind of hovering, and its reason why is because people come into Bitcoin and then they realize, oh, if I want to make this 5x money, 6x money, I got to get myself into Ethereum with some of these other coins, these altcoins. So what we're seeing is Ethereum getting pumped up a little bit because people are and Bitcoin not hitting those new highs because that money is coming into Bitcoin and then leaving right away, taking that liquidity to these other coins. So that's why things are seemingly very, very good. That's why ADA had a big jump. That's why even Modic has had a big jump. It's because these assets are getting, like, after people come in with their Bitcoin, they're getting re-diverting all of that to other places. Now, after after that's all in position, after that money's there, that's when I think that we're going to see the markets come down, because BlackRock has the ability to manipulate the markets. So you just accept the fact that that's something that's real, market manipulation, and you account for it. And so again, this is what they do. They go in with their fake money, their Ponzi schemes, to manipulate the price of assets. They've been doing it with gold and silver for decades, selling paper contracts on gold and silver, to the point where for every ounce of gold that's mined and coined, for every ounce of gold that's above the ground and registered, 300 people think they own it. So it's just a great big Ponzi scheme. They're doing the same thing with these assets here. So, Ethereum, uh, Ethereum having gone up, people are all excited. They're in. The elites are going to want to bring the price down. Why? And honestly, I think that when this does retrace from a high, it's going to be like a 30% retracement. Well, 30% from 100,000 is almost right. Yeah, it's basically where we were at the election time. So from here to 10,000, I think we're going to see that resistance and then a great big 30% drop. Why? Coming back to the reason. Because they want the people who just got started, who are all emotional about these wonderful 5 and 6x returns they're going to get. Those people, once they see, because they're dumb, once they see that they have that 30% drop, they're going to sell. They're going to panic. Why? Because they're going, look at what happened over the last couple of years. Economically, the nation was devastated. Devastated. There are still businesses closing down that tried to hold out as long as they possibly could economically, and they're still closing down at an alarming rate. So these businesses are closing down. Imagine that you had a business running before COVID, maybe doing bringing home $250,000 a year or whatever, and throughout COVID, things are getting worse and worse and worse. Business is going down. You're having to give yourself pay cuts and all the rest. And then finally, at the end of it all, Trump gets elected, and boom, all of a sudden there's hope. So then you go and tell your wife, look, I'm going to remortgage the house so that we can get ahead. There's this opportunity happening in cryptos. It's going to be great. This big AI bubble. People are talking about it all the time. And, the tech industry is going to take off because Trump is saving the day by using Bitcoin for some of the monetary policy to help fix our country. So he goes ahead and buys in, and it drops 30% right after he gets in. And he's pulling his hair out, biting his fingernails around the hound, being an angry tyrant. And his wife says, what happened? And he goes, well, remember I remortgaged the house? We bought all that stuff. Yeah, well, for the last week it's been dropping. Now it's down 30%, and I'm stressed out. Guess what she's going to say? Well, fucking sell and get out of that mess so that we don't lose more. Why? Because they don't know what's going on. They don't know anything about retracements. They don't know anything about pivot points. They have no idea what they're doing. They're following the retarded advice of their neighbor, who saw that Bitcoin is on the rise because Trump has got a plan. Like, literally, this is the level of knowledge and logic people are using in making their investments. And the banking institutions know this because they've got all that data from all the social media from everybody trading for the last 20 years. Retail traders are notorious for disclosing publicly how they feel about the markets, so that the elites can move the markets in the opposite direction. Why? Because when the price drops down here and now everybody's panic selling, it's the BlackRocks and the Vanguards and the Pauls and the Audreys that are buying, which then brings the price back to where they left off. If they would just hold on, and instead of buying it all at once, dollar cost average their way down so that they can get a nice cheap price, maybe down in this, maybe they can get Bitcoin at 80,000 again. But they won't. It's there literally. It's going to be a bloodbath, that 30%, and it's just going to be short lived. Those people are going to be taken out of the game, and all that liquidity is going to get pumped back in. And while it's pumping back up, Buddy's going to go back to his wife and say, "Look, it's back to where it was, and it's going up. Can I take that money again?" Now with 30% less than when they started, they'll be buying again to try to catch the whole thing. But that's when the elites are selling to them again, because it's the game they play. So to play the game, you don't follow the money. Okay, that's the thing. A lot of people say you follow the money and then everything's fine. No, you follow the smart money. That's how you get wealthy. You follow the money, and that's how you become knowledgeable, right, as to how things going or how things work. But you follow the smart money, and that's how you make money. I got to come up with a better saying. Follow the money, and it makes sense. Follow the smart money, and you make money. Something like that. Ethereum, ADA. Let's go up. Modic. Get through these quicker here. Modic, great pushes here over the last little while, showing great promise. I'm actually really happy with this trade. This is kind of like what Alex called a boomer coin, right? Up 50% basically since the election. Up 50%, now sitting at 57.8 cents, forming a new high that beats out this one way back here. This was fun. When watching this, it was like, oh, that's looking cool. And then it was down here, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready to buy. Sure enough, I bought here, and I still could have waited. If I would have waited, there's always that, right? If I could have waited, another 22%. I could have had my bag 22% larger. That's fine. Still,
what was the date on the low one there?
This low here was November 4th, right before the election.
I think I bought them.
Oh, I know you did. I know you got some Polygon in here somewhere, yeah. Still, though, if you take a consideration, if I'm purchasing right there, that's my level. So if I'm purchasing there, I'm still doing really good. There's that little bit of difference, but just look at this. Just coming back to the all-time high, the 679% return. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm not going to complain, especially with this new high now, higher than the previous high. You know what that tells me? We're right now at support, because it went up above it and has been hovering since, back and forth for 3 days. That means that point is actually becoming support. And we're just right now in the middle of a range. So we're going to make a little box here. We're in this range here right now, for now. Once it reaches down here, I think that'll be enough, because that'll be a double bottom. That's support enough for it to continue going up. Solana actually pulling back from its all-time high formed last week. Little bit dipping in back into this pivot zone. That's great. Means that it's regaining some support. And because the meme culture, and we talk about memes, I'm only in 3 different ones with small amounts, because I'm just testing that thing out. I don't like going into things I don't know a lot about, so I don't go into the memes thing. But the meme culture is definitely taking root. You can see it. You can see it on the Twitter space, on the what's called crypto Twitter. You follow the right accounts there, you can see exactly what's going on. People are coming in and they're just joining communities and buying a meme. That's all they're doing, and it's getting pretty crazy. And so as Solana gets liquidity, it's going to be coming out a little bit, finding support in places, simply because the liquidity is leaving Solana. As people buy Solana, they need to buy Solana to get the memes. So they get Solana, and then they're buying the memes. Well, that drops liquidity out of Solana into the actual meme coin itself. Not much, but a little bit, because they're selling, right? So as that happens, we're going to be seeing the price find some new support. Likely here, might come back down and retest this area. It very well might. Looks like it very well could, especially since this high right here, that didn't beat out the previous high. It didn't even come up close to this high right here. It's not able to beat that. So taking that into consideration, this price here, we could form another new low beyond this, and that would be down here. So we'll watch for it as it plays out. Injective token still climbing though. This one here is really encouraging with higher highs being formed almost every, I don't know, 2-3 times a week usually. Very, very encouraging. This bounce off of this little mini trend line, it was great. Retracement, nice and deep, finding support off of the resistance from before. This was a great spot, by the way. Anything, like folks, this one here, $50 is where it's going to really start to take off. And I believe that that's going to coincide closely with where Bitcoin takes off beyond the $110,000 mark. Or even if it just inches above that 100,000, Bitcoin might take that next little leap up before that 30 point resistance, or the 30 point retracement. We'll see what happens. But Injective token doing very well right now. Doing very well. And look at how well it's following my squiggly line too. The only thing that it really deviated was this area here where I thought it was I didn't think it was going to go down this far, but it did. Retested that long-term trend line, but came right back up to where my squiggly line is, basically following that. I was a little bit late, but 3 protocol, I think it's still hanging out pretty low. It did have a little bit of a jump today, 14%. Yeah, but still within that pivot point. So this is still a great accumulation area, folks. 8.4 cents US right now with an all-time high of 45 cents. From where you are right now, that's a 448% return. Nothing to shake a stick at. This one here is still very much, though, hanging out. We've had a few instances here, like even back in here when we were doing market analyses back in September, this was encouraging. And I thought that this high here was going to be that next marker, but it wasn't. That high there is all we've got, and it's been hanging out since. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to stay here. It just means that it's taking a little bit longer. And it makes sense because it's going to be those first coins, layer 1 coins, that get the biggest attention. Altcoins like ADA, Polygon, XRP, Doge, all of those are getting a lot more attention right now than things like 3 Protocol, Woo, those kinds of things. So it's okay that it's delayed. It's not wrong. This trade plan still really applies. It's just we're waiting for it to take effect. This price action, rather. Not really a trade plan, more that price action. Woo is definitely not behaving the same way as 3, forming new highs all the time, much like Injective token in that matter. And we can see that, this actually is interesting, eh? So it's kind of still following this channel. Right now might actually be a good time to sell. You can see after this big movement here, if you wanted to get in on the trading aspect. I'm not doing this. Again, it takes too much time to sit at the computer, but if you wanted to, now would actually be not a bad time to sell so that you could reaccumulate at the lower end of this channel. We are seeing this pattern play out over a long period of time. Whenever you see a pattern, it's a safe bet to follow it. So right now, if you were to, maybe switch this out, maybe put this into, I don't know, maybe Modic, maybe ADA, something, you could move it. You could move it and just wait until the price comes back down here again so that you can accumulate, because the difference between these two lines is 27%. So you could add to your volume a significant amount if you wanted to trade that way. If you want to learn how to do that, let me know. I'm more than happy to show you. I just don't have the time to look at screens 4 hours a day over this. I only look about 1 hour to 90 minutes, and that's a long time, by the way. The traders that I used to follow back in 2017, 18, 19, they traded for about 20 minutes a day. And that was it. That's all they needed to look at the charts. But we're at the beginning of this bubble, so that's why I'm spending a little bit more time than usual. BitTensor still hanging out lower end of this consolidation range here. Yeah, it's accumulating. When it's squiggly like this, just back up and down, forth, even on. This is a 2-hour chart. Back and forth and back and forth. Again, you can see now why. It's like this is a 2-hour chart. So every one of these lines represents 2 hours of price action. That's a lot of price action. In fact, if we go to the 15-minute chart, we might actually see where there are opportunities to grab. Yeah, for sure. Look at that. Bounce back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's so much activity. And these stretches here, folks, like that high to this low, that's 11%. Right now dropping. You can see dropping quite quickly, actually. This is now a 15-minute chart. And since 7:45, it dropped already 2%. You know, if you've got large positions, you can make some real good money, even on these short-term, well, even without the large positions. It's the transaction fees that will eat you up, though. But here we go. Fetch. This one here is a new asset that I have in the rotation for AI super AI infrastructure. This one is actually called Artificial Super Intelligence, and I think I kept it. No, that's Avalanche. Yeah, Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance. That is the name of it there. This is a massive unification of different companies that are working towards a similar goal. In fact, SingularityNet is one of my favorite companies out there for their dedication and long-term plans for AI. These guys are not here for the bubble. These guys are here for the next 5 to 10 years. SingularityNet, Ocean Protocol, Fetch AI, these are all companies coming together to really help solidify and privatize people's artificial intelligence. So as people are getting these computers capable of doing all of these things, it's important that their data becomes private so that, so that your AIs aren't monitored, right? I mean, if we're going to be having digital IDs and you're going to be going around creating digital identifiers that are doing work for you, see where this is going yet? These are the digital identifiers here, your AIs, all of the things that your email address, your Facebook account, your X account, your YouTube account, everything that you're doing is creating a digital identifier with which you are using to access things like ChatGPT and everything else. So as people are doing this, we need to get ourselves into AIs that are securing our privacy. That's what syndicates like this are working on. SingularityNet is easily, and you can't SingularityNet. You can't even sign up for it yet. You get updated when it's ready. Okay, so you'd put your email in here and subscribe, and you'll get an email when it's ready to sign up. They're still building. Okay, they're not here for the bubble. They're here to build for the long term, and they're not ready yet because it's going to take a while. The bubble is where the hype is, and that's where we're making the money right now. With Fetch, this one here is going to experience some increase over the next little while, simply because of the long-term prospect around this unification. It's called they're called decentralized autonomous organizations, and they get together and just magic happens because they're autonomous. Nobody's actually in charge of them. It's the people, it's the stakeholders that move these projects forward. So back to Fetch. What's happening right now? Well, a little bit of a drop here over the last couple days. Is that right? Not just the last day. It's been hovering. Let's look at this from this perspective. Yeah. See, this is so sitting right now at $1.40. All-time high is 140% higher than where we are right now. Definitely a good time. This is a nice consistent chart, folks. There's no big pumps and dumps, nothing crazy. And I believe that what we're going to see over the next little while is this push back up to this all-time high by the end of the year, likely $6 or $7. We'll experience a retracement and then another spurt of growth, probably finding support off of this line here, maybe up a little bit higher. Once it finds support off of there, we'll see it take off to its next level, likely that 10 to 15, maybe even $20. So this project here is definitely on the horizon, and I didn't get any yet, and it's because, well, actually I should, because now that I look at it, yeah, this support here, I don't think we're coming back to this. So now would be a good time to get some of that. Again, this can be a slower moving project. That's a longer term one. Look at Destra over the last couple of days, even over the weekend, went ahead and challenged that all-time high, has now been kind of finding support just below that. Yeah, probably in that area there. This is actually really nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Destra, for continuing to do your great work. 0 by 0. This one here is still hanging out nice and low. You know, when we take into consideration all things, this one here is still coming out fairly low from these lows. Like it's not up a lot from these lows here. So still a good position to buy. Anything under $1 is on sale for 0 by 0. ARK, same idea. Anything under $1 is on sale, sitting right now at 5.7 cents. So much growth ready for this one. And then at the same time, we could lose it all. This, these projects, we have to take into consideration just the volatility of this whole world. If we go to ARK, it's got the 54 million, but I mean, some of these other assets we're looking at, they're into the billions, right? And so because it's a smaller company, we have to be ready for the fact that this might not do anything, right? But we take a look at these charts, so far so good. New highs being formed. We're just simply now sitting at a point of resistance. It's been resistance in the past. If we take a look at the chart there, right there, and there. So this is normal. We're seeing a little bit of resistance. No big deal. Yeah, I would say that we might test this 4.5 cent level here one more time before we head up towards that all-time high. There's nothing really stopping it right now. This resistance that we just bumped up against is basically the last resistance before that all-time high. All-time high is 155% from where we are right now, and that will just be the beginning because that's only 14 cents. Remember, $1 is the target. Link, same idea, $1 the target, and we've got 97% to get to the all-time high. Likely to see some resistance before we get up there, though. We've got a few highs to beat out. We've got this one in particular. That high needs to be beat. These ones need to be beat, and we're having a difficult time getting above that. So Link AI, from a technical standpoint, is a really good time to buy because it's still staying below this support. DEAI 01 Labs. This one here, it's more consistent, newer project coming out of the gate, consistently forming new highs over the period of the last few weeks. Right now, over the weekend, we can see that it dipped down a little bit and just played down here at the top end of this pivot zone. Given the fact that we already had the triple bottom down here, those three bottoms, if it goes below this, we might be in for a bearish run on this asset. Typically speaking, from a technical standpoint, this triple bottom is giving us all the support we need for more movement up. If it goes below that, that's when we're in trouble, I would say. But honestly, I say trouble, might not be at all, just more of a delay. Because again, this one here is, again, smaller project, right? It's not like Avalanche or You know, Fetch, or well, yeah, Avalanche. Let's see what that one is. Yeah, see, Avalanche is at 17 billion, right? So it's just a different size. You know, Link AI is only $34 million project, right? So there are things to consider. This one here, I think it will do well. I really do. But look at how much fully dilated volume there is, 146 million. So this is because it's a newer coin. There isn't as much liquidity sitting here. So the people who bought, when it goes up high, they have a high incentive to sell. And if they do, there's not much money left. It's overexposed. WorldCoin doing its thing, hovering back and forth. Made a purchase here on November 18th, up a little bit. Yeah, this is actually pretty encouraging, because if you take a look, this trend is definitely coming into fruition. Looks like that support is nice and solid. We do have to break out if we want to see accelerated growth, likely to break out of this channel, but it's not there yet. We'll see what happens. I actually see a lot of this happening at the moment. This is actually more accurate pattern, right? So this is a rising wedge, they call it. So the lows are getting higher, but the highs aren't really they are not getting higher. A little bit here, mini trend, but we got this resistance here right now to beat. So it's bumping up against the top, and as we get closer to this is like the runway. It's got to take off. It's got to take off. If it dips down low, it might come back down to here again like it did before. So that might be your buy opportunity if it comes back down to there. Still, even if you buy right now with an all-time high of $12, you know, you're looking at a 5x from here to there. Nope, 4x. Nothing to shake a stick at. PAL, since the dip, their big PR blunder. It's not really doing much. I mean, before it was hovering, right? Just consolidating back and forth, had this little jump. Everybody got excited. Some partners came on board and people didn't like it, and the price went down. But now that price action is basically doing what it was before, back up and down. So we'll see where things go. I would say that if this price action does drop down, coming back down to these levels, that this project might just lose. And so that happens. That happens sometimes. There are going to be losers in this game, that's for sure. FAR, some great action over the weekend. Was that? Oh, that was just even yesterday. So yeah, we're definitely up on FAR, forming a new high. Let's move out a little bit on that daily chart. Yep, so we got that new high. Have to still get out past this one. That high there hasn't been beat yet. But with a new high here, that's showing we got some life. Probably just a bunch of people coming in with their newfound liquidity in Ethereum, or rather in Polygon. Remember, because Polygon had a nice, where'd it go? Polygon had a nice big movement, right? So that movement comes in. There's all kinds of liquidity. People are moving, shuffling things around, and FAR is a major gaming infrastructure coin, and so that just makes sense that it got a little bit of a boost. Gala, same idea, nice big boost. Gaming coins are starting to get in position. Again, I think gaming and AI are going to be playing hand in hand with this run. AI before gaming, but we're seeing people get in position, and so that's what this is. The resistance has been showing, though. We've got some resistance back here, and so there's resistance again. But as the positions come in, we'll see this get formed. You know, there's people who are really excited that bought like me, who are doing a bunch of day trading, and they're looking at this last, 2 weeks of 3 weeks of growth as an opportunity to cash out 87% of their growth. That's 87%. doing nothing, and it's not even reacting to the bubble yet. This is just the beginning. This is just the little anthill before the big mountain. And so, yeah, this is nice. This resistance here, we're gonna see things kind of, yeah. Well, I think we'll see things kind of even out. Might retest down here at the 3 cent level. Right now, sitting at 3.7 cents. That all-time high though, 4,400% from where we are or where we were there last week. IMX. This one here actually reminds me a lot the price pattern and how this massive wedge is minimizing in size. It reminds me of desync in many ways. Desync, here we go. The only difference between desync is that over the last, well, since the elections, November 5th right here, it's just been consistently going up to its all-time high. Whereas with IMX, this wedge is there, but we're not sitting at the all-time high. That's the only difference. Makes sense though. Again, desync is the storage for AI. Decentralized storage and web hosting for AI. And it's AI driven as well. So it's a different type of project. This is a gaming project. Super. Also, great positioning right now. I think, if I remember correctly, we're at about the middle range. A little bit higher than the middle range. We were middle range. Yeah, this is nice. Found some resistance here at that $1.60 level. Likely finding some support right now to be able to bring us past that. Might have another test of the dollar. This level right here, that's $1.01. So we might still test the dollar as a support before heading up. Now into the memes. Sundog hanging out nice and low. You know, I'm down. I've got 2 baby positions in here, halfway down 50%. Whatever happens, happens. Bonk. That high has got nice retracement coming back. Looks like it's finding support. It's wonderful. NPC, of course, the big name in memes right now. Finished off that all-time high. Got a retracement hanging out right now at 3.4. Oh no, 4.4 cents even right now. So there you have it, folks. That's market analysis for November 25th. And you got market analysis and a bonus at the beginning. You got a little bit of a rant from me about the political situation. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and make it private, but if you've got questions or if you want to learn how to get started, I encourage you to reach out to me. You can leave a comment on one of these videos if you want. You can private message me, or if you'd like, feel free to connect with me. Here's my contact page. Go to manknownaspaul.com/connect, and you can book an appointment there. Feel free to book my time. We'll set up. We can meet up for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Get everything set up for you so that you're in position to wildly profit from this bubble that we're experiencing right now. It'd be wonderful to have you on board. And if there's an asset that you maybe don't want to meet with me, maybe there's just an asset you'd like me to analyze, go ahead and leave it in the comments or send me a private message, and I'll make sure to include it in the next market analysis for you. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.